Back to World Crisis Radio. Webster Tarpley here in Washington, D.C. Keep up with everything at Tarpley.net, Tarpley.net, Webster G. Tarpley Twitter feed. So the Russian election results, nothing out of the ordinary, but whatever it is, this is a loss due to Medvedev's failed leadership. The story with Putin is yet to be told, right? There'll be a presidential election in March, even though the Anglo-Americans are attempting to run their destabilization now. So, as Putin correctly pointed out, this is completely unacceptable, intolerable, and I would say adventurous, provocative, and really crazy interference by the U.S. in Russian internal affairs. And it's also, the other thing about it is pathetic. It's weak. How many goons can the U.S., can the CIA mobilize in the Tverskaya, right? They want to say, oh, the new Tahrir is the Tverskaya square there in Moscow. How many CIA goons can they put out there? And actually, they won't come with sweatshirts saying CIA. It will say, for example, the international brigades of the ad busters, right? Unemployed youth. I'm sure they've been shipped in from Western Europe, right? From the Transcaucasus, from the Baltics. Any kind of goons they can get in there, including soccer hooligans on leave from their soccer teams and so forth. We're told there were demonstrations in Moscow. Wow, how many? 5,000, 10,000, 15,000. The boast today on National Pentagon Radio is it's going to be 35,000 will be demonstrating in Moscow. Now, I've been in peace demonstrations here in Washington with 50,000 easily, 100,000, that had absolutely no effect on the policies, let's say, of the Mad Dog Bush Jr. administration. So we're told now, though, that the voice of the people is this very, very select group, right, in this huge country with 150 or 160 million people, whatever it is. We've got 35,000 soccer hooligans in Moscow, and that means somehow the government is not legitimate. We've also got Fox News showing you a demonstration that actually took place in Greece, where you can see the sign that says Greek National Bank written in the Greek alphabet. The Fox News assumes that their viewers are so ignorant that they can't tell the difference between Cyrillic and Greek. The other thing is, what is the CIA line? It's basically two things that are more or less contradictory. One is there was a tremendous vote-stealing exercise, right? The ballot boxes were all stuffed. These elections are invalid. And at the same time, look at the tremendous losses of the United Russia. So, dear friends, which is it? Is it vote stealing, vote fraud, or is it the losses that United Russia was able to do? And then they try to bridge this. They say, well, look at the losses they had. If they hadn't done vote fraud, then it would be even worse. This is interference, and we have this group called GOLOS. I called your attention to this last week. The GOLOS is a case study of National Endowment for Democracy, NED, CIA, MI6. This is the party of Judas. And there's also this apparatus of the Helsinki Accords, the Organization for Security and Cooperation in Europe. This is something that comes out of the 1975 Helsinki Treaty. This has obviously been heavily, heavily penetrated by NATO intelligence so that the people there are at work. We've got stupid McCain shooting his yap off, right? John McCain popping off once again, saying to Putin, hey, Vlad, there's going to be a Russian spring. Well, unfortunately, this is the time of the year when the Nazis bogged down before Moscow, dear McCain. This maybe is not the right time to do the springtime offensive. Now, it's clear, therefore, this Saturday, the 10th of December, the CIA will make its maximum effort with the help of ad busters, NED, the entire Western NATO intelligence cartel. The average Russian, I think, is not interested in having a weak puppet government installed. The average Russian remembers very well the IMF NATO puppet government. It was called Yeltsin, with Prime Minister Yegor Gaidar, with Anatoly Chubais, with all of these people who were privatizing. They were doing nomenclatura privatization. It was a government dominated in particular from 1996 on by these oligarchs. We had a new campaign this week in favor of Khodorkovsky. Khodorkovsky, the rich parasite who wanted to organize a coup d'etat, he wanted to sell the oil of Siberia to Chevron Oil at the expense of the blood and bones of the Russian people who had died to protect this stuff during World War II, because then the Nazis would have done pretty much the same thing. So now we're supposed to think that Khodorkovsky is cool, that he's a victim, that he's a human rights case. I'm sorry, he was organizing a coup d'etat, and he better stay in Siberia until he figures out that this is not the way to do it. I think the average Russian would say, look, we know what a puppet government looks like. That looks like Yeltsin. There we had essentially a Great Depression. We had a decline in Russia of production of about 30, 35, 40%. This is written up in some books that I collaborated on at the time. We don't want that again. So if it's Putin or chaos, again, it's an easy choice, isn't it? Putin, whatever the critiques may be, is better than chaos. There's also an international dimension to this we'll get to. Right now, the dispute going on with the United States is this question of the anti-ballistic missiles. And, Lavrov, the foreign minister, I think he's got a clearer view now than he did maybe a year ago. Lavrov now says there is no receptivity by NATO. There is no readiness to negotiate seriously on the question of the anti-ballistic missile system. So Russia is going to have to go ahead with their countermeasures. This could mean denouncing some of the last relics of the Cold War détente period, right? The New START treaty that was negotiated with his beatitude Obama, right? With the Messiah. This may go out the window within a week, and you will have these Russian short-range nuclear missile batteries put as far west as they can put them to shoot out the ABM batteries if it comes to that. Because this is a very serious issue. The issue involved here is a U.S. sneak attack first strike against the Russian Federation. This is the biggest deal there is in the world. This is World War III, by definition. We should go back to Foreign Affairs magazine, as I recall, in the spring of 2005, two U.S. experts, and I will have this for you next time, looked up. The two U.S. experts wrote about the growing possibility, this is 6 years ago, of a U.S. first strike against Russia and or China. And I think that has not gone unnoticed. The point is that if the U.S. has a first strike capability, you might have a disorganized, fragmentary Russian retaliatory response, and the ABM systems would serve to diminish that. So it would reduce the price that the aggressor would pay. Therefore, these are linked. It's clear. They are linked. Russia is correct in saying so. What is the point of this? It's not directed, the ABM systems are not directed against Iran. They're not directed against rogue states. They are directed against Russia. This is pure insanity. Who wants to drive NATO all the way to the edge of Russia? How can the American people be committed to fight for the defense of the Baltic states, right? These faraway places, who, of course, get themselves into trouble with their abrasive, provocative policies that they insist on carrying out, right? Gratuitously insulting Russia. What is the point, right? What is the goal of this? This is done by demagogues in the countries who are imposing austerity and who are saying, well, I'll wag the dog a little bit. I'll get my popularity back by having a go at the Russians. Pure demagoguery. Why should the American people be committed to support that with their lives? Back in a minute on World Crisis Radio.